Alright, hello everybody. So, I'm gonna be making a different kind of video today. Not really any sort of special system test or sound off. I'm actually gonna be doing a comparison of these two very similar looking but very different Simplex light plates. On the left we have the very iconic Simplex 405080, and on the right we have the not very well known Simplex 404160. A lot of people like to call it the 404060, but I will explain why that is actually not the model of this plate later on. So basically what I'm going to do is just talk about each device individually, share some of the specs and some of the key differences, and then at the end I will, for fun, test them. But as far as how they work pretty much the same. But anyways, I'm going to have timestamps in the description below in case you're interested in learning about one device over the other, or just want to jump around the video. But we're going to go ahead and get started with the Simplex 405080. Alright, so here is the Simplex 405080. This is probably the more well-known, more common version of the two plates. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to go ahead and take this horn off. It's just a Simplex 4051, pretty common with these plates, and really doesn't have anything to do with the workings of this plate and how it's labeled. So here's the light plate itself. Very simple. It's just a metal plate with a hole cut out in the top for the horn and a red lens with an incandescent light bulb in it. So as you can see, this is one of the base models, I guess you could say. It doesn't have any of the fire lighting on the lens or anything like that. And it's also just red. I know there are very rare white lens versions out there, and then of course you have the ones with the black or white fire lettering. But we're just gonna be focusing on the base model here, which is all I have. So yeah, let's go ahead and flip this plate over and take a look at how this operates. Alright, so here's the back. There's a label, model 405080. I know the label's kind of wearing off, so it's hard to see, but 24 volts DC, and the bulb draws 65 milliamps. So that's your socket right in there. This being the 80 model, it is just a 24 volt DC, single bulb, no flasher. However, you can get dual bulb models, which, as you can tell on this little mounting piece right here, there is spots for the dual bulb model, as well as holes right here for where you can run the wires through and secure them down. But again, this is just single bulb, and there's no flashing circuit attached. So yeah, this is just, again, basic model. One thing about this, the horn mount is actually, the little tabs are actually asymmetrical. You have one closer to the bottom over here and one that's up more towards the top. I'm not sure why they did this. I think this is more kind of for balance or whatever, but not 100% sure. If anybody knows what the real reason is why the mounts are staggered on this one as opposed to the other plate, let me know, because that's one little difference. Although I guess the big giveaway that this is a 405080 is, besides it saying 405080, is these little dampeners right here, and this little, I guess, free floating socket. Basically the reason this is here is when it's an alarm and you have the horn vibrating up here. Obviously this is designed for electromechanical horns, which do create a lot of vibration, and the vibration could shorten the lifespan of the bulb. So they added these little dampeners right here. It allows them to float around a little more to try to extend bulb longevity. So that is the 405080. Nothing really too crazy to talk about with this plate, since there is really not much to it. And a lot of people know about these plates anyways, but we're going to go and take a look at this plate's predecessor. And there's a little bit more you guys should probably know about that plate, which should hopefully spread some more information about those earlier mystery light plates that we can't really seem to get them entirely right because we are just finding out about them. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the 404060 or 404160 or whatever it's called. Alright, so here is the Simplex 404160. This has got quite a bit more moving parts to it, and I mean that in a figurative way. Literally, this is actually even simpler than the 405080. Basically, these only really came in single bulb models without the flashers. You could get some of these with fire lettering, but they aren't very common. And depending on which generation you have, as you see, this one has screws to hold the lens down like most plates do. However, some of the early generations actually just have a little snap-on lens. This plate also, being an earlier model, has the horn, if I can hold this up right. The horn sits completely flush with the plate, which is kind of interesting. I actually really like the design, but this was obviously changed in the later models. So here's the back. As you see, you just have your horn where it sits right there, and you'll notice the horn tabs on this plate are symmetrical. They aren't staggered like the other plate. Down here is your lamp socket. It's very simple. All it is just a P&S lamp socket. This particular one is rated for 125 volts. However, these also came in 24 volt models. This one's just 125 volts. I do have a 24 volt bulb in here just to, you know, make things simpler because I run a lot of DC stuff, and this is a DC horn. So yeah, just 24 volts. As you can tell, this thing does not have the dampeners on the socket here. It's just a piece of metal that's attached with a socket in the middle. However, like I said before, this is just a very early model. There is a newer model, which I do happen to have. This is part of the same series as that plate. However, as you can see, the horn is semi-flush like the 405080, and you'll notice here we have dampeners on the lamp socket, which do basically what the 405080 socket does, and just kind of helps extend the lifespan of the bulb by cutting down the amount of vibration that goes to the bulb. This is actually a 4050-60. Reason being is because it uses a Simplex 4050 12 volt AC horn. This one over here, like I was starting to say earlier, is a 4041-60 because it has a Simplex 4041 mounted to it. A lot of people like to call these plates the Simplex 4040-60, just the plate itself. It's actually not true. At least we don't know that yet. According to the little documentation that we have on these plates, these are actually listed as horn light combos. So when they give that model number 4040-60, they mean this light plate with a Simplex 4040 horn mounted to it. And if it were to have a 4041 like this one does, the whole model number gets changed. The model number even changes if you decide to mount a projector to this, believe it or not. Again, looking at the little 3 to 4 little documents I found on this thing, these single projector models are 4041-61, which is basically a 4041 horn with a single projector, and then they have the 4041-62, which is the dual projector model. There may be other models out there. I guess it depends on what you decide to do as far as customization, but the model on this plate actually depends on what you have mounted up there. So pretty interesting. So yeah, that's basically the 4041-60 or whatever you want to call it in a nutshell, and how it is vastly different from the 4050-80. So I guess now I can go ahead and get to the fun part. I'll go ahead and plug these in, test them out, and you guys can hear them, and I'll just do the horns too for the fun of it. So yeah, let's get to it.